Okay, we're good now, guys. Thank you. All right. I know, guys. I'm with you. I agree. This is ungodly right here. Hey, what's going on, people? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? What's happening? Good morning. Good morning, YouTube and Facebook and Periscope people. I know. It's like, do you know what time it is? This fool got any idea how early in the morning it is? Man, if I got more than 5 people watching, that's a miracle. Okay, first of all. So let's get that out the way. Let's give it up for everybody who happens to be up. All my insomniacs. Insomniacs in the house. So I know. You know, so, but better late than never. That's what they say, right? Well, I'm going to put it to the test. That's the saying. Y'all like to say stuff. Old ass cliches. You know? Only time will tell. Nothing beats a failure but a try. So here we are. We're here. This is it. I'm going to make sure we can hear on these platforms. Make sure people know people actually can hear me talking right now. I think we can. Time to smoke. I look over, that's the first comment. It says time to smoke. So we're good on Facebook and YouTube, I think. Real quick check on YouTube. Schulte 100, Murray Warren, Diana M16, Dallas Taylor, Been a Fool, Sign of the Times, Bad Dude, Corn Pop. That's a great combination of folks, man. I'm trying to tell you. Sally's in the house. So some people are up. Well, guys, if you're up right now, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love how I start the show off, at least. I know that because you're gonna be you're in a rare position. Dolores, what's up? Dolores and Julie and Raleigh and Patrick and Candace and Doreen. We got some Facebook love out here. A little bit of Facebook love. Shawandre and Cheryl and Gladys and Evan, and there we go. We rocking it. Paul is up in here. Okay, I feel better. Nicholas, what's up? Back up a little bit, Johnson. Back up a little. Mike's a little hot, Johnson. I'm so tired. My voice is all like, you'll never find a love like mine. All Lou Rawls in it. What's up, Shauna? All right, now. Edward, what's up? Timbo Justice. Chicago in the house. All right, so check this out, guys. Since you are up, that means we get to be the first one to bite at the apple of the story that's going to be trending all over the independent news arena in the next couple of hours. And I'm thinking it's going to definitely hit mainstream news. Yes, folks, it's going to definitely hit the mainstream news, and that is Sarah Palin. Now, let me set this up for you guys, right? Because there's some benefits of being late as hell. Late as hell. But there's a benefit of it. One of the benefits is that, cut all this stuff down. One of the benefits is that you get the first crack at a story. So Sarah Palin posted a video, and the reason for this video is, if you're aware, there's been a lot of back and forth between Sam Cedar of The Majority Report and Brianna Joy Gray of the Bad Faith Podcast, and Jimmy Dore and Sam Cedar. Now, Sam Cedar and Jimmy Dore have been going at each other for about, I don't know, a decade? I don't know how long. Very long time, right? Very long time. So they've been going back and forth, and, you know, it stemmed from Forced to Vote, but this actually extends beyond 2015. This is old school stuff, okay? So they've been at each other, sometimes subliminally, sometimes right in the open, for at least a good 5-6 years that I'm aware of, okay? I even kind of got into the mix at one point. You know, those are back in the day, you know, 4 years ago. I thought Sam Cedar was a jackass. And at times he still is. But now I know Jimmy's a jackass. I know that now. That I know. But that's not the point of this segment. This segment is about those two guys going at each other, and the Brianna Joy Gray and the Force to Vote movement, and that they wanted to make a movement. And you know my feelings of that. You know, I wasn't on board. I looked at it like, hey, what's this going? What are you trying to do? These are allies in Congress. We need more AOCs and Cori Bushes and Jamal Bowmans and Rashida Tlaibs and Ilhan Omars. We don't need to go at them and try to get them out. We got some people we need to get out, but these are not the people that we need to get out. So that was my main thing. We don't need a litmus test for them. We need these other fuckers out of there. But a lot of people didn't agree with that, said I didn't support Medicare for All. That's neither here nor there. Stay on track, Tim. Stay on track. Point is this. They're still going at it about this Forced to Vote thing. People won't let this go about, okay, so Nancy Pelosi speaker, and that happened. No one's talking about the fact that there was no Forced to Vote on this to get rid of Nancy Pelosi or to give her an ultimatum and withhold their votes. That ship sailed, and we're still here, and we still got to deal with Medicare for All. We still got to deal with reparations, which none of them want to talk about. None of them want to talk about reparations. Waiting for, you know, maybe myself and Clickbait, the Clickbait crew over there with Dixon, Mondale, Marcus, Azor, and my brother on the DJ, the man DJ. Nobody be talking about it. Okay, so and you know, of course, not nobody. So now I started. Yvette Carnell, Tone Talks, Some other people. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. Anybody else I left out, I meant to. So anyway, so that's the thing. And we were talking about that. So they're going back and forth still about force of vote and the merits of it. It's like people like grabbed on this thing, won't let this thing go. So they're still going back and forth so recently that Sam Cedar and Breonna Joy had a debate. I did not watch much of the debate. I watched a very little bit of it because I'm over this now. I'm over it. Like a lot of my people, some of my people that were Jimmy Dore fans, they left, they're gone. I'm good with this. You know, at some point, people got to walk on their own, chew gum on it. I know people got their own little squads, but I gotta do my own thing, and it's not gonna be with those guys. And I'm fine with the changes. So I tuned out of this stuff, but I did see pieces of it, and it looked like they were talking or seeing past each other, talking past each other. Some of the framing I didn't think was cool. The narratives, I said, I'm out of here, man. They're not going to agree on this shit. Sam's not going to agree with Bree on much, but they both want Medicare for all, so what are we arguing about? Which is the same thing I've been saying, like, you want Medicare for all, you do. All of us do. It's like people getting canceled for wanting the same thing. But at the core of it, a lot of it is Jimmy, who's sitting back getting fed off of all this shit. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing. And then we got people that are attaching themselves to him, getting famous and getting clicks and getting views, who don't deserve them, who aren't really good at what they do, or marginally better than below average at a lot of shit. So it's a whole bunch of stuff, and I really think it's a bunch of nonsense, some of it. But the Breonna and Sam thing, I don't see a reconciliation. I don't see them working this out, like agreeing to, I don't know. So anyway, forget it. Okay, that's the thing. Okay. It's a strum. It's a melee. People are pissed off about it. It's still going on. Days later, Sam says something. I don't keep up with what they're saying, but here's the thing. I say all that to say this. All that to say this. This thing, okay? This thing. How long this thing been going on? In fact, the white guy, the father in Get Out. How long this thing been going on? So this thing that's been going on has spilled over, and now even Republicans are talking about how silly it is. Case in point, Sarah Palin.
Okay, look. Oh, first, this is Sarah Palin up in Alaska. Look, Sam, Jim.
One more time.
Okay, look. Oh, first, this is Sarah Palin up in Alaska. Look, Sam, Jim, this war over cheese. I'm glad we know how to pick our battles. Y'all fighting over brie? Baked brie is the best, with like cranberries on the bottom and a pastry shell. But I digress. Look, Sam, you being the cheesemonger that you are in Brooklyn, now you know everything about cheese, and yet you say that brie isn't worth consuming. Okay, and yet, other side, there's Jim. He loves it. Can't live without it. God. Leave it alone, you guys. Leave it alone. Brie is fine. Really, it's fine to like. If you're like Jim and have zero sophisticated tastes. Yeah. Hey, you guys, Happy New Year. You guys, keep on picking those battles. My best to you.
I could have went another decade without hearing Sarah Palin's voice again. So, maybe we should just go ahead and let that go. Yeah, I mean, maybe this is a sign that it's gone too far. I mean, if you guys disagreeing on this leads to me having to listen to a damn Sarah Palin video, I'm going to have to ask you to cut the shit. Take one for the team. When I say team, I mean all of us. Because all of us want Medicare for all. All of us want to end, mass incarceration. All of us want to combat climate change. All of us want money out of politics. We agree on like 90% of shit. Okay? 90%, we there. Right? So let's just go ahead and say we disagree on this one thing. And we're not saying you have no credibility, Bree. And by the way, I think Bree's nickname in college was something relating to what Sarah was trying to get to. Okay, whatever. But let's just say we're not going to just try to destroy Bree's credibility. We're not going to try to destroy Sam's credibility. And Jimmy doesn't care about credibility because he's a jack-off comedian. So there it is. And we can move on with life because we're getting nowhere with this. And meanwhile, we have a responsibility to try to push the conversation, to try to push these politicians in the right direction, to policy and to educate the masses. And we're really not doing that if we're still fighting amongst each other on this. Fighting about force of vote. And it's over, right? So half of the tenet was about Nancy Pelosi losing her speakership. That ship sailed. So, now we got other stuff to do. We got other things to force, right? And now we can gear up and force on other issues like reparations, right? And Medicare for all, right? On other things. Like, it's not over. But part of the problem was the framing of it and who we thought the focus was on. And there we go. But still, we could still, my thing is, let's just put it behind us, let's move on, guys. And I know that's rich coming from me, the guy who's beefed a lot with a lot of people. But once again, if Sarah Palin doesn't show you that maybe you've crossed a point that is, there's no wins here, there's a point of no return, where it's just a zero-sum game, there's nothing to get, that maybe we should just call it a day. Yeah, okay, let's call it a day. And yeah, I know it's old school to have a soundboard, but I like it. So what? Fuck it. Now, tell them who you came to see. Tell them who you came to see. Now, this is going to be fun because this, folks, is something that I have a problem with. And it's something that I think a lot of people have a problem with. And I want to crystallize this and express this in a way that makes sense to everyone. Now, back in like 2017, full disclaimer, I used to rock with the progressive white guys. Yeah, I was doing stuff, doing shows, and I was the token black guy. I was that black guy in the picture. Who's that black guy? Oh, that's Tim Black. Oh, it's perfect. Perfect. Make this up for me, guys. It's perfect. Black guy, and his name's Tim Black. This is perfect. We love this. But slowly I started to realize that a lot of people that were in the progressive, these white guys in the progressive movement, didn't care about the issues that I cared about. They wanted me to do Julian Assange videos, 50 of those, but they wouldn't want me to talk about reparations or crime in the inner city or poverty in the inner city or black people in the inner city or any of that shit. No one covered any of this shit I cared about. And it looked like all I was doing was constantly, the solidarity that we had seemed like it was totally one-sided. It was all about the shit they wanted me to talk about. And then I started building an audience that was all about the shit they wanted me to talk about. And I had to get out. Now, during that time, as I was in this environment, I began to believe that solidarity was the most important thing there was. Solidarity. We need numbers in order to fight back corporate interests, to make changes in our government. We need bigger numbers, and bigger numbers, that's going to win the day. And that's what we need. That's why we couldn't get Bernie to win, because we didn't have enough mofos. We need more people if we're going to get this. And that became my focus. Now, during that time, there was conversation like, should we work with people like Mike Cernovich? And when we say work with him, it was like a tweet. It wasn't like work with him, like go to the bar with him or hang out with him. It was like, if he retweets you, is that a bad thing? Or, if, or something like that. Or if you did a show with him, had a conversation with him, was that a horrible thing? Now, Mike Cernovich, as far as I know, he wasn't a part of any hate organization. He was just a guy who was a Republican with some stupid views. Right? That's what I thought. Or views that I didn't agree with on a lot of topics. But there were a couple of things he wanted to help with. Mass incarceration, climate change, I think, and ending the wars. So I agreed with the progressives at the time that, what's the big deal? Like, this guy's not the devil. He's not like David Duke. There are striations, there are variations of, there are degrees of differences. And if just because you're Republican, does that mean that you're, undeal-wittable or unacceptable to the point that you're so toxic we can't work with you? We got to work with Republicans. And I saw little evidence that he was much more than a Republican who wanted some of the same things we want. So it was an online beef and everybody went crazy, and it was people just losing their shit over it. And there were people that are now, I consider, they were pissed at me because they felt that I was selling out because I supported still interacting or retweeting, or if you retweeted Cernovich, it wasn't a kiss of death. Not something I've ever done, but I can see you doing it if you're having a conversation about something. Okay, so now that fast forward to where we are now. So I want you to know I was in a different place than I am now. Now where I'm at is, and this is a different situation, but I think people are bringing it up. I think it's important to make that statement. I'm not saying I was wrong then. I think that was a different circumstance, and this were different people than what I'm about to present you with. I do not lie. I could be wrong. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't see Cernovich like the gentleman or the group, the Boogaloo Boys. I think that's a different thing. The Boogaloo Boys, to me, are like a soft Klan. The Boogaloo Boys are like a soft Klan organization. And I don't see why we need to fuck with that. Why do we want to sacrifice, or why progressives or people who call themselves progressive would sacrifice an alliance with black voters that we need to get Medicare for all, end mass incarceration, get money out of politics, climate change, black agenda, all these things that I want done. And I think the only vehicle to get it done now is through a progressive movement within the Democratic Party. I don't see another way to get those types of agendas done, to get that type of policy enacted on the Republican side. It'll be 20, 30 years or whatever, I don't know, before moving for a People's Party or the Green Party are in a position to do that. So there's only like one vehicle electorally to get this done at all. And I feel like that vehicle rests in the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Don't like it that way, it's just the way it is, okay? Can't deal with the way you want life to be, you gotta deal with the way life is sometimes. But once again, I didn't see Cernovich as the same thing as the Boogaloo Boys. So now the Boogaloo Boys, I'm seeing that there are people that call themselves progressive who are willing to say fuck black people, which they do a lot, just to align themselves or make it acceptable to work with people who are content with the destruction of black people, or support the destruction of black people, or the elimination of black people, or the removal of black people, or that hatred of black people. Now, if you are with an organization that has historically or was founded on principles of discrimination and anti-blackness, then you are an untouchable from my standpoint. Now, I see some people conflating the two things. There is no, I don't think there's any way that a good faith person could say just a general Republican who agrees on climate change, ending mass incarceration, legalizing cannabis, and ending war, but it's like fiscally, like don't spend a lot, don't want, doesn't want to expand social safety nets, and it's on that type of shit. I don't think that's the same thing as the Boogaloo Boys or SOFT or the Aryan Nation or any other hate group or what have you. It's not the same thing to me. Now, all of that being said, there's been a lot of interviews that Jimmy Dore's had, or if there's been a series of things that Jimmy Dore has done recently. And I don't want to keep bringing them up, but I'm not going to avoid the issue. Okay, I'm not going to avoid the issue when it's germane to the conversation and what's happening, it's what's being discussed. And there's some people that don't even know what I'm talking about. But there's this independent media person who's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I wonder why that's happening, who had a conversation. Now, the clip that I was sent was the clip I'm about to play you. It was not of subsequent interviews that Jimmy Dore's done with Boogaloo Boys. It's about a speech that he covered. And that's what made me write a tweet that's went viral in regards to this whole thing. Now check out this video. And I'm going to stop it at points, I think. But this is it.
And I don't think that there's something that you couldn't look at this and go, this is interesting. But to not know anything about the Boogaloo Boys and not understand what the guy's even saying here, because you don't know who the Boogaloo Boys are, is stunning to me. And it's extremely dangerous for young people, for people who are, who actually take the time to read things.
Which he does not, yes.
He doesn't even play this clip.
Force for good in the world. When was that? 1940?
Come on, Mac. You know when that was the thing. That's that time. You know the thing.
So here's a guy. There's a guy who's a man who aligns with Boogaloo Boys. Who are the Boogaloo Boys? What is that? I don't even know what that is. Do you, Ron?
I don't know.
Is that like the Proud Boys?
I only do a news show.
Steph, look up Boogaloo Boys.
I'll look at Boogaloo. My guess is they're Proud Boys who like to dance.
I think they're probably.
Okay. All right. First thing I want to do is I want to call bullshit. Okay? Bullshit. I don't believe that you did a segment without watching the segment first. No one does segments without watching segments first. So the whole idea, the whole frame of this is like, oh my God, who are these people? I have no idea. That's bullshit. Hey, Steph, look this up. Bullshit. You already looked it up. And anybody who's actually sitting back and believing that this is all unfolding in real time is a moron. That's all. That's it. You are gullible as hell. You're more gullible than me working with H.A. Goodman for a year before I realized he was a Trump supporter. You're more gullible than me working with white progressive men who really, in turn, really don't give a shit about black people issues, and finally realizing that, and taking me about 2 years to realize I can't get anything out of them that's going to actually help people in my community. But, which is a stretch, but you are still gullible. If you believe that these people did not watch this clip, they have a staff. I'm a one-guy machine here. I'm late because I got 5 clips for you myself with a supporting documentation. Jimmy has staff and writers. He knew. He knows. And he's still talking about them. So in that context, let's begin again. Well, let's continue.
And I don't think that there's something that you couldn't look at this and go, this is interesting. But to not know anything about the Boogaloo Boys and not understand what the guy's even saying here, because you don't know who the Boogaloo Boys are.
Which he does not.
That's that time. You know the thing.
So here's a guy. There's a guy who's a man who aligns with Boogaloo Boys. Who are the Boogaloo Boys? What is that? I don't even know what that is. Do you, Ron?
I don't know.
Is that like the Proud Boys?
I I only do a news show.
Steph, look up Boogaloo
I'll look
Boys.
at Boogaloo. My guess is they're Proud Boys who like to dance.
I think
Nobody
they're probably
nobody there knows.
Proud Boys with rhythm.
Okay.
So stop at the joke.
So this guy went to the state capitol in Michigan, and he gave this speech. Now, Ron, I want you to listen to this speech and tell me how much of this you agree with.
Pause it for 1 second.
Because we're told
the Boogaloo Boys, there's basically two strains of Boogaloo Boys. One strain is a virulent white supremacist. And over the years, some of the white supremacy has supposedly been submerged into another version of white supremacy called extreme libertarianism. And the extreme libertarians, they don't want society. And some of these Boogaloo Boys have, over the course of the summer, participated in some BLM and Antifa protests because they are for the smashing of the government. And to do so in a violent way. Some of them think these protests are healthy because it could bring about a civil war. And now I want you to just keep that in your mind. They are heavily armed. They are often part of like militias. Understand, when you talk about a civil war, think about for a moment where the lines might break down if there's a civil war, or if the government goes away and you've got these guys with all these weapons. Play this clip.
gave this speech. Now, Ron, I want you to listen to this speech and tell me how much of this you agree with. Because we're told these people are maniacs.
Yes, they're loosely organized, far-right, anti-government, and extremist political movement in the United States, according to Wiki.
Okay.
Oh, Wikipedia. Okay, good.
Oh,
You got
good.
that
I'm
from
glad.
Wikipedia.
I'm glad
Well,
they
here's
did
what he
some
says.
research.
BLM, Antifa, Boogaloo, and right-wing militias, they are the antibodies, not the disease that is destroying our country.
He included Antifa in that.
Yeah, I think he said BLM, Antifa, and then he also said
Boogaloo,
and
yeah.
Proud Boys.
Yeah.
Pause
let
it
me
for 1
listen to it
second.
again.
He also said right-wing militias. I mean, the idea that they're going through this on air and trying to figure out, like, maybe these guys are our friends. They're not examining the Boogaloo Boys here. And the funny part is that the dude in the, I think that's his sidekick, starts to realize, like, hey, wait a second, maybe this is sort of irresponsible that we're not actually educating people as to who these people are. But go back, keep playing.
BLM, Antifa, Boogaloo, and right-wing militias.
Yes, he says BLM, Antifa, Boogaloo, and right-wing militias are not the problem. That's what he's saying. Let's listen to it again.
BLM, Antifa, Boogaloo, and right-wing militias, they are the antibodies, not the disease that is destroying our country.
They are the antibodies, he says, not the disease destroying our country.
The disease is a country run by two corrupt political parties that do not care about you. So deeply incestuous with corporations that they are indistinguishable from each other. A government that spends
I'm not promoting Sam Cedar. I'm using the clip that was sent to me. The clip that was sent to me, you fucking moron, was a Sam Cedar clip. It's the whole context for my viral tweet, you fucking child.
And I don't think that there's something that you couldn't look at this and go, this is.
Gave this speech. Now, Ron, I want you to listen to this speech and tell me how much of this you agree with. Because we're told these people are maniacs.
Yes, they're loosely organized, far-right, anti-government, and extremist political movement in the United States, according to Wiki.
Okay.
Oh, Wikipedia. Okay, good.
Oh,
You got
good.
that
I'm
from
glad.
Wikipedia.
I'm glad
Well,
they
here's
did
what
some
he says.
research.
BLM, Antifa, Boogaloo, and right-wing militias, they are the antibodies, not the disease that is destroying our country.
He included Antifa in that.
Yeah, I think he said BLM, Antifa, and then he also said Boogaloo and Proud Boys.
Yeah.
Pause it for 1 second.
Again.
He also said right-wing militias. I mean, the idea that they're going through this on air and trying to figure out, like, maybe these guys are our friends.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, guys. I don't tolerate bullshit very well. I disagree with Sam on a lot of shit. He's right on this. But that's not the point I really want to make. Sam's making a different point. My point is, why is it time after time after time, so-called American progressives, because I don't know what they do in Canada, sir. You don't know what we do in America. But time after time, American progressives, white American progressives, mostly men, sometimes women, why is it so easy to throw us to the wolves in order to accommodate their racist or bigoted brothers or cousins or nephews? And this is another example of that. This is not about piling on Jimmy Dore. This is about why is it time and time again, why would you risk an alliance with black people for these guys? For some marginal organization, marginal organization with limited numbers of people who are may agree with you that there may be like a broken clock is right twice a day. Why would you jeopardize black alliance, a black progressive alliance for these guys, for them? These people, there are people right now in my comment section criticizing me for playing Sam Cedar video, but not criticizing Jimmy Dore for playing the Boogaloo video. And then we're supposed to take you seriously. You're supposed to be an ally. You support black folks in America, right? You support our fight for civil rights, anti-discrimination, fight against anti-blackness. You support that. But you have a problem with me playing Sam Cedar video, but no problem with Jimmy Dore playing Boogaloo video. That's the problem with the progressives. That's the problem. I'm here. And look, there's a very limited amount of people that are going to speak to these issues. But I'm speaking to them because, and I can't speak for anyone else, I just say, because I really care about the progressive movement. I really care that these policies get enacted. That's the only reason why. Jimmy needs a black friend that he listens to say, hey, Jimmy, this is not a good idea, man. Yeah, I know you may be trying to build solidarity with these people and try to show that we have more in common, that we have differences, but it's too risky. It's too risky because everyone who sees it, particularly the black voters that we need, when they see it, they're going to say, you're throwing us under the bus for some racists. You're throwing us under the bus at your convenience for people that don't align with us. Now, of course, there may be individuals who have been Boogaloo or are Boogaloo who are different than the group, or there's different sections of the group, and some sections are more this or more that, but you cannot expect people to dig through all of that shit to get to a point where they no longer see a problem. People are lazy, people are not going to do their research, and on the outside, it's going to look like what? It's going to look like you are catering to them. And it's unnecessary. What do we glean from this? What are we learning? What, that Republicans bad, Democrats bad? We already know that. I got a shirt. I wrote a shirt about it, Johnson. Both parties suck, Johnson. Yes, we need to come together, all of us, but we don't come together with racists. No more should we come together with anti-Semites or people who hate gays and Mexicans and immigrants. We shouldn't come together with any groups like that. They would have to absolve themselves from all those affiliations. And those people who keep showing me a fucking clip or a picture of the Black Panther Party or Fred Hampton or someone else working with rednecks or racists, those rednecks or racists with those Confederate flags laid their flags down and denounced racism before they were able to work together. That was a condition, a stipulation. I do not hear that being demanded of these people. I do not hear that demand. Once again, of course, there are individuals who may walk away from, maybe do not embody or foster or believe all this negative shit in this organization. But you know what those people should do? Leave the organization. Denounce the organization, because that's what organizations are about. If you're in an organization that has a history of some horrific shit, or some heinous shit, or some racist garbage, you break from them. You don't go, well, I'm with them, but I'm not like them. Oh, we're still with them. We still have the name, but we're different. It would be like My People's Party's still being Democrats, but saying, no, we're different, though. We're not the Democratic Party, but we're a new party, but we're the same. No, you get a new name if you have a different ideology, if you want to separate yourself. So I question how much separation there really is if you still have the name. When marriages break up, they divorce, people change their names. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. I left that religion. I don't say I'm a Jehovah's Witness who doesn't believe in Jehovah's Witness ideology. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. That's it. It's not really that hard to understand. So I'm trying to understand why, once again, my point of this is, why sacrifice us? Why sacrifice black people to rock with these guys? And why did all day I'm listening to and watching supposed progress? You guys just say you're libertarians. It's okay. Be you and do you, boo-boo. You're a libertarian, have at it. Good. Stop pretending that you're something that you're not. Because if you can align yourself with anti-black, anti-Semitic, or anti-immigrant, or anti-Mexican, or anti-Latino, or what, any of that. And I'm not saying that's what Boogaloos are. But if you can align yourself with any of these organizations, any people that are organizations that are have a history enmeshed in any of that, then that's not progressive. And if so, we need to just run a spear through the title of progressivism and move on, because the name is dead. And that question, maybe it is dead, when you got people like Neera Tanden actually using it. You know what I mean? So maybe it's true. Maybe it is a dead phrase. Maybe it means nothing. It's been bastardized so many times it means nothing at this point. Someone should have talked to Jimmy and said this was a bad idea. It's not worth it. And it's horrible, the fact that I've worked with Jimmy before. So now, once again, guys, you say, and I hold myself responsible, say I should have known H.A. Goodman was a Ford Trump guy. I didn't know that. He wrote 500 articles about Bernie Sanders. So, and he's not, I never felt that H.A. was a bad person. My point of bringing him up and bringing Jimmy up is, now look at Jimmy. Jimmy's doing shit that makes me wish I never knew him. That makes me look like an asshole. I don't rock with racists of anyone. And everyone that's affiliated with him is going to be smeared by this. But just know, I separated myself earlier. It's been a couple of years. But this is horrific. For the record, I separated myself from these people long ago. We have different agendas. I have a black agenda that's on the forefront. I want reparations. And then I want all the other stuff. And it seems like that's a whole separate wing of the progressive politics because that doesn't fit comfy in the progressive agenda. So this is a more radical progressive agenda because it includes stuff for black people. And that's something specifically for black people. The ones that have been here 400 years and have 2% of the country's wealth. The ones that have been here for 400 years, yet a convicted white felon makes more money and has more wealth than a college-educated black man. And we don't even want to talk about the outcomes of black women, postnatal or prenatal, the mortality rates. We don't even want to get into all of the other inequities, all the other horrific stats, not thoughts, not feelings, not narratives, stats. So it's not about bashing Jimmy Dore. It's about the progressive movement consistently moving towards the side of anti-blackness every time I turn around. They will not embrace a fight for Medicare for all, for instance, which Americans have been talking about over 100 years. But knowing that it's an uphill battle, but will not embrace a black agenda because they say it's too hard. Or reparations because it's too hard. You need to check your implicit bias and your explicit bias because they're showing. Go to the tail and get a hymns up. So that's my point of playing the video. That's the point of this argument. Now, I'm not even going to comment on the other videos. Other videos. Further conversations with more Boogaloo people. With the Hawaiian shirt and all. Once again, I don't see how it makes any sense. I don't see what they're trying to glean. Everybody wants to be Joe Rogan. That's what I see. That is my opinion. I don't have to have inside knowledge. To me, this seems like another Joe Rogan play. You know, when Joe Rogan would, oh, shucks, and bring on these people that some would say, or many would say, or bigoted, or racist, or asshole, have an anti-black past belief system. And then the next week, bring on these people that are leftists, like Kyle Kalinske. And just keep jumping back and forth, broadening his audience as he swirls around like a whirlwind or like a huge snowball rolling down a hill, becomes an avalanche, a boulder picking up more and more people as he does this. Meanwhile, crushing the small towns below. Well, we're a small town below. And the alliance between black folks and progressives is too weeble-wobble. It's too flimsy. We're trying to build it, and it doesn't happen overnight. And I wish it did, but it doesn't. So whether you agree with me or not, I want it to be known that my intentions are clear, and they're not based in selfish reasons. We just disagree if you agree that it's fine to run the Boogaloo Boys. We disagree, okay? It doesn't mean, oh, well, Tim's not, it's not. Take that shit and take it somewhere else. If you say, well, Tim, back in 2017, you said in a tweet that we should work with other people. Yeah, I didn't say work with other organizations or people that belong to hate groups or extremist groups, right-wing extremist groups. That's different to me. And if you say there is no difference, well, fuck it then. I still feel the way I feel. So call me what you want to call me. Just don't call me late for dinner. Because this is how I feel about it. Take it or motherfucking leave it. We cannot build a coalition. We cannot. See, my thing is, we missed an opportunity with Bernie Sanders and the next Bernie Sanders. We have to have already made enough inroads with Black America to be able to have them believe and trust that this is the way to go. And if we have people mucking up the works, risking it all for some views, wearing the name tag, but not wearing the ideology, then I don't see us being able to do that. And that's how you get Biden. That's how you lose. And I don't want to lose. And it ain't for me. It's for my kids, man. This is not about what I get. I get nothing out of this. This video ain't gonna go viral. It's not gonna do big numbers. It's for a niche group of people. But I'm gonna say things that I think are important. So once again, Jimmy Dore could have benefited from some counsel. I'm not saying Jimmy Dore is racist. I don't know that. Some people are saying that. I say he's racially insensitive and tone fucking deaf. And operating from a position of privilege where he doesn't even have to consider. Black people don't get to walk through this world without considering at every movement, every step, how white people feel about it. But, and you know, we consider it like I consider it, and then I do what the fuck I want to do anyway. But white people, like Jimmy Dore and his supporters and many others of you, and the people that are feeding off views from him, his pals, they get to walk through life and not have to give a fuck about how black people feel, how things impact them at all. And that is at the cusp of everything that everyone complains about, from women, that's what they complain about, people in the LGBTQIA, that's what they complain about. It's the lack of consideration and thought, clear thought, logical thought about how this impacts someone other than you, other than yourselves. And that's fine to do. But if you need our vote and you need our support, then it would be advised for you not to do that. It's not a good move. No cap. All right. Now I'd like to move on. Let's move on there. Bernie Sanders was on Dana Bash show today. Over the weekend. State of the Union. CNN, State of the Union. And they were talking about changes that talked about Joe Biden administration and things that they were doing, policies that Joe Biden was enacting, executive orders. And I know people have commented about Biden's moves, and some of them have been good and some have been kind of milquetoast, okay? But I want you to take a look at this clip, and I got a couple clips from that interview. And let's just look at one and then talk about it. There, let's do that.
And I don't think that there's something that you couldn't look at this and go, this is.
You've said that Joe Biden is off to a good start. Some of your progressive colleagues want him to do more. For example, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants him to forgive student loan debt. Congresswoman Cori Bush wants bigger direct payments to Americans. Congressman Jamal Bowman called for a more progressive cabinet. Are they right?
Look, we're going to push Joe as the president as far as we can. But given the fact that he's been in office for less than a week, I think he is off to a good start. What we have got to do is recognize that right now we're living in an unprecedented moment in American history. You got the pandemic, you got an economic collapse, we got climate change, we had a crumbling infrastructure. And what we have millions of people working for starvation wages. And what we have got to do is roll up our sleeves and fight for the agenda that working people throughout this country want. They want to raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour. They want that direct payment of $1,400 on top of the $600. We've got to do that. They understand that during the midst of the healthcare crisis, we cannot have millions of people being thrown out of their houses or lack healthcare. So we have an enormous amount of work. Then you throw in impeachment, you throw in the need to get Biden's nominees confirmed. It's a lot of work that has to be done, and we're going to roll up our sleeves and do it.
So you.
Okay. So what I like about this clip, guys, is that Bernie Sanders is showing that they're playing an inside-outside game with Joe Biden. Inside-outside game, and I think that's exactly what's needed. Where Dana Bash points out, hey, you say Joe Biden's doing a pretty good job starting off, but The squad, AOC, Cori Bush. I think she mentioned Jamal Bowman. Maybe Rashida Tlaib. I'm not sure who else she mentioned. But they were critical of some things with Joe Biden that he hasn't done yet. So you guys aren't on the same page. And Bernie was quick to say, well, we're going to continue to push Joe Biden. But then he didn't throw Joe under the bus because he's good cop. Good cop doesn't throw Joe under the bus. Good cop uses leverage, but if he attacks Joe Biden, then this isn't going to work. There's going to be resistance. But meanwhile, the squad can do what the squad does, which is push. So I like it. Now, the only thing I'm critical of, and this is just me, I really wish Bernie Sanders would have pushed the point on the $2,000 instead of that $1,400. But maybe there's something in the works that he's working with. He's talking to Joe. I do not believe for a second that Bernie was okay with that pushback or the change of the $2,000 to the $1,400. I don't think he was. I don't know him personally, but he doesn't strike me to be someone who likes to bait and switch. But maybe there's more going on that we don't know about. And sometimes that's all you can say is, I hope that there's something going on we don't know about. And apparently there is some talks about another stimulus, just like $3,000 or something like that. But I like this so far. Now, the second clip is a little bit more Dana Bash and Bernie talking about Bernie's talking about what they're going to get through Congress regardless of what the Republicans want to do. And I think that's so important. Check this out.
I think it's the appropriate step forward.
If Democrats don't pass these sweeping changes you're talking about, do you think that they will lose control of the House and Senate in 2022?
That's what history tells us. What history tells us is that when Clinton won in 92, 2 years later, the Democrats didn't do as much as they should have. They got swept out by the Republicans. Obama won in 2008, 2010. Republicans decimated them at the polling booths. Look, Donna, this is not complicated stuff. We're in an unprecedented moment in American history. Tens of millions of people are hurting. People are watching this program, do not have food in their cupboards to feed their kids. They are sick. They cannot afford to go to the doctor. They cannot afford the outrageously high cost of prescription drugs. They're worried about climate change and what that will mean for their kids and future generations. That is where we are right now. And the American people say, we elected you guys. Do something. Improve our lives. We are in pain. We are hurting. That's in red states, Republican states. It is in Democratic states. It is in rural America. It is in urban America. It is Black, white, Latino, Native American, Asian American. This is a country that is in pain right now. And if Democrats, who have slim majorities in the House and the Senate, we got President Biden in the White House, if we do not respond now, yes, I believe 2 years from now, the Republicans will say, hey, you elected these guys. They did nothing. Vote for us, and they will win.
Okay. No lies detected. Bernie Sanders is saying that we can use this thing called a reconciliation. I think that's what it's called. I don't think I played that part of the clip. Where using this measure in the Senate, the Democrats can pass legislation with a simple majority. That's a +1. And having Kamala Harris as the VP gives them a +1. And they don't need to get everything through Republicans. And they don't need to settle for Republican stalemates. And they don't need to water down their legislation in order to get Republicans to sign on to it. Now, Republicans used this tactic when they were in charge, when they were in power, to get things done like tax breaks for the rich, to try to repeal Medicare for all. I'm sorry, I wish. To try to repeal Obamacare, Affordable Care Act. So So, and I like the fact that Bernie doesn't have a problem with people calling him the bad guy because he criticized the Republicans for using it when they were in power. He's fine with that because he's using it not to benefit rich folks and corporations, but to benefit us. And that's the mentality we need to have. That's the mentality we need to have, our politicians have. Right? Don't be afraid of criticism. If you're afraid of criticism, you never do well in anything because you ain't supposed to please everybody. And that's part of the problem. That's when people talk about Joe Biden and they say Joe Biden's a nice guy. I don't give a damn how nice he is. In fact, nice is not good at all. We want not nice. Not nice is better because not nice fights for you. It doesn't water everything down to please everyone. Nice guy. No. Nice woman. No. Don't be nice, Johnson. Be real. Fight for what you believe in. And that's what Bernie's doing here. And look, he's putting them on notice. He's like, look, if you don't fight for it, if you don't go in, make the Republicans hate you, mad, let them seethe and breathe fire, then you run the risk of losing the House and the Senate in 2022. Because that is what happened with Bill Clinton trying to appease Republicans and Obama trying to appease Republicans. And then 2022, the Republicans just ran on. What have the Democrats done for you? What have they done for you lately, Johnson? And there's really nothing to point to because they watered everything down. You have to believe in your ideology, believe in your point of view, believe in what you're going to get done for the people. Go do it. And then if you got to drag them kicking and screaming, so what? Drag them kicking and screaming into a better life. Yeah, how many times you been somewhere with somebody? There's been times I cooked a dish for Mrs. Black. Like pho. How many people have had pho? My brother called it foo or pho. It's pho, man. At least I think it is. Anyway, he introduced me to it. If I told her what it was, she wouldn't like it. But when I made it, and she tried it, she loved it. Thought it was amazing. Oh, the different flavors. The flavors are so deep. So what I'm saying is sometimes people are going to disagree with you, fine. But if you happily surprise them, go star, Johnson. And that's what we got to be focused on. And even if they are happily surprised. This is politics. Who elected you? Who elected you? They didn't vote for you. Hey, look, if I'm the one who carried you there, I'm the one you owe. You don't owe nobody else. I'm the one that paid the bill. I'm the one you owe. If I'm the one that put the roof overhead, put the food in the refrigerator, pays for the heat to keep the heat on, put a steak in an ice box, then I'm the one. I'm the one you owe a debt to. That's somebody living out somewhere else, not doing shit for you. So that's how politicians need to look at life. And speaking of politicians looking at life that way, the right way, that brings me to AOC. Now, recently on this channel, we covered the strike at Hunts Point. The Hunts produce workers there, Hunts Point Produce, which processes all of this produce for the 6 boroughs in New York, 60%. And I know that because AOC kept saying it. Well, there was a strike because those people, of all things, wanted a $1 raise. And they wanted some better health care. And we're talking about thousands and thousands of workers, right? A lot of workers. And we're talking about people that are vulnerable, essential workers who many have caught COVID-19 and some of them have died. So they put themselves in harm's way for the people of New York. Now, AOC skipped the inauguration to go stand with the brothers and sisters at Hunts Point. It was a week-long strike. Day and night, 24/7. Freezing temperatures. I'm saying AOC, but I mean so many other people as well. Oh, because, you know, a strike is not about the big names that show up. It's about the people that are striking. All the big names do is show up to give it media attention. I noticed that some people didn't really talk about this. So once again, AOC skipped the inauguration to go down and participate. And I thought it was a stroke of genius because people are going to say, hey, AOC's a popular person. Hey, she's at the inauguration. Where the hell is she? Why did she do that? Why did she snub Biden? Why did she do that to Kamala? And then they get to find out, oh, she went to this strike to help these workers, and that's what you should be doing. No. Not to mention, it's also in her district. The people that elected her. The people that elected her. Not random people on Twitter. So, here goes the clip of that and the result.
Voted. Workers at the Hunts Point Market in the Bronx have reached a settlement. The Teamsters Union members voted in favor of the agreement this morning. They walked off the job last week after a dispute over wages. This new contract promises to provide workers a 10% increase in both pay and benefits over 3 years.
The message today is how powerful, as you know, when unions stick together, you can really stand up to the deep pocket companies and businesses, and you know, you can get what is fair, and that is a fair wage.
After ratifying the new contract, they celebrated with a champagne toast.
What I saw. Out here in Harlem.
For our brothers and sisters that showed up from Boston, and Philly, from Albany, who came down. They're telling the story. We're just laughing about it on the video because we were hearing the honks go down, and he said it's the freight trains. It's the freight trains because that story from the other day that he was telling about how these freight trains. For our brothers and sisters that showed up from Boston, and Philly, from Albany, who came down. They're telling the story. We're just laughing about it on the video because we were hearing the honks go down, and he said it's the freight trains. It's the freight trains because that story from the other day that he was telling about how these freight trains came in full of produce. And as we know, and as we've educated so many people across the country and in our city, that 60% of our city's produce comes through right here, Hunts Point Market. And our brothers and sisters loading those trucks are feeding, and 60% of all the food coming through. And we're talking about these horns honking because the other night, that truck came in, and they stood up and talked to him, and they said, listen, man, this is what's going on. And he said, you know what? I'm a Teamster too. I'm turning around going back to Ohio. And it's how we win our future. We win our rights. We win everything. It's how we win our wages. It's how we win our rights. It's how we win a better country, and it's how we win our future. And I think it's so important that we remember that. Because yes, change happens at the ballot box. Yes, change happens in policy, but change happens on the picket line too. And we can't ever forget that. We can't ever forget that.
That's right. All right. So a little bit more context on that because I saw a couple people asking questions. This is the largest strike they've had in decades, first of all. So that's why it's a win, even that seemed like much to you. 1,400 members of Teamsters Local 202 walked off the job at the Bronx Market January 17th, upset with how they were being compensated while continuing to keep operations going throughout the coronavirus pandemic, which caused the death of 6 employees. It was the first strike since 1986. Workers will start returning to work at the market Sunday, the union said. About 97% of striking employees voted in favor of the deal, which will raise the average base pay for most workers to $20.42 per hour in its third year. They also included a contribution, a raise, additional funds for health care per hour. I think it's 40 cents more an hour given to health care. So it wasn't just money, it's also about health care provided. Originally, they were seeking $1 per hour in pay and 60 cents towards health care insurance, but they negotiated $2, what is it? What's that percentage? Someone said the percent. 10%. 10% over 3 years with 40 cents on the health care immediately. And I think, what's immediately on the 70 cents per hour immediately. So almost a dollar raise that they wanted in the first year, but 70 cents, but 40 cents on the health care. So, they voted for it. They liked the deal better than what they had. It's the best deal they've been given in the last decade. So there you go. And I think the last decade, I'm really minimizing what I think of. I think it was the last 3 decades, but I don't want to jump out there. I think it's been a long time since they got a sizable raise out there. So I just want to give a shout out. We saw Rafael Salamanca shout out also to Jumaane Williams and AOC and all of the workers, more importantly, all of the workers, I'm sure they would agree, all of the workers and all of the Teamsters standing in solidarity for the workers to get this done. And I'm in talks to have Jumaane Williams come on the show, who is an advocate, a public policy advocate for the people, civil rights activist, former councilman, a former councilman there in New York, to come talk about what he saw on the ground and how they got this done and how we can replicate this in other instances, because I know Jumaane has worked on tenant associations as well as within his community on similar issues. So that's good. That's good. What else do I have? It's getting really late, guys. I guess I'm going to leave some of this stuff for tomorrow. Tomorrow, tune in for where I talk about the Harriet Tubman $20 bill. We'll talk about the Tacoma police car. We'll talk about the rioter that threatened AOC's life, who broke into the Capitol. People said she had no business being worried. One of the people that was given death threats were in the Capitol maybe looking for her. Maybe that was part of it. Who knows? I do want to comment on this, and I saw the clickbait crew talk about it, but I want to weigh in on it because it doesn't matter who talks about it first or second or last. Well, I want to get them props for talking about this issue. Now, this happened in New York. In New York, a woman went into a liquor store on her way home, stopped by to pick up some wine. She stops by to pick up some wine, and a couple guys are in the store, and they try to talk to her, hit on her or something. One of the guys offers to buy her a bottle of wine. She's like, no, thank you. I have my own money. I came here to buy my wine. I'm going to buy my wine. I'm going to go home. Somehow an argument starts because she won't accept their money to buy her bottle of wine. They follow her outside. My understanding is the crew or there became more men yelling at her, beating at her, and someone tried to literally bite the eye out of her head. Now, I want you to remember that this is all because this black woman turned down these black men for a bottle of wine. We can't allow shit like this to happen in our presence. We cannot allow motherfuckers to take advantage of our women like this. We can't allow them to abuse our women in this way. We wouldn't allow white people to come into our communities to do it. We damn sure should not allow people within our community to terrorize our community, to damage our women and our children without reprisal, without repercussion. Now, it's my understanding that people were banding together. They're like, we're going to do something about this. But it's also to my knowledge that someone there was filming, because this is all on film. A lot of it is on film. And someone said, you need to run, lady, you need to run because this guy's done this before. What do you mean this guy has done this before? So what you're telling me is you know that this guy's biting women in the face. This guy is a menace. This person is a terrorist. Now, no, you're going to divide. It's not a political motivation to it. He a terrorist. Hey, look. Being a man is not just about how you dress or walk or what music you listen to or any of that. It should be about, and hell, no, that's not even saying men. Let's not even go old school. It's a new day, Tim. Being a human being that cares about human life, that cares about the respect of all humans, particularly moms and daughters, because we all know the number one killer of women is what? It ain't syphilis. It ain't women with an attitude. It's men. I say all the time, if women killed men like men kill women, there wouldn't be a human race. I don't know how y'all put up with this shit. It's horrific. It's beyond words. Like I'm having to stop and think. Am I thinking too much or should I say more? I can just curse this whole segment, but I don't want to do that. But that's how angry this makes me. Because there's no excuse for it. Man up. Community up. Human up. People up. As Bubba would say, and it's also about our trans folks too. You don't supposed to stand by, man, and watch anyone beat down anyone. A couple guys jump a woman, basically try to kill her over a bottle of wine. And all you can do is get it on camera. Well, luckily there in Harlem, where this took place, some people are doing something about it. One of those people doing something about it is Jamani Williams in the community. It's not just him, it's the community as well. Activists on the ground, getting it done, doing something about it, making changes in their own community, boldly saying, we will not tolerate this, not in my house, not in our community, not to our women. Check this out.
Voted workers at the Hunts Point Market and the
Black women out here in Harlem. we're marching to protect black women. You may have seen this crazy stupidness. Well, black women was beaten, bitten, all kind of crazy that make no sense. So we're on the street in Harlem right now.
Protect black women.
To protect black women. Like, that's absurd.
Black women.
Those people don't need to be out on the street. Those people need to be accountability.
Protect black women.
I mean, I don't even know what the word is to really explain what I saw.
Women.
But we out here in the street.
Protect black women.
Making sure that lady and all black women in this city knows it's not just going to be going down like that without somebody stepping up and doing something and saying something. Protect black women. Peace.
All right, so I'm going to give a shout out once again to Harlem. Those men in the streets doing what they got to do. That community taking a stand against terrorism, domestic terrorism, or whatever you want to call it. People that are endangering the lives of women in that neighborhood. I want to show respect for that and just say that's something to be proud of. And I want to reassure black women that there are some of us who are willing to jump into the fray, are willing to do what's right, even at risk of our own, risking our own safety, or risking our own popularity, or risking whatever we risk. It's a necessity that we do this. We can't ask the rest of the world to care about us unless we care about us. So we need to step up and care about us more. Let's care about us. So thank you to the people of Harlem that stood up, and Jamali for live streaming that and sharing that with us. That's important. That's amazingly important because people need to see that. Black women need to see that we give a damn, man. All right. I think that's it, man. I think that's enough, right? Now I'm gonna go to the comment section. Tomorrow, we open up phone lines. So look, guys, tomorrow people can call up. We have two-way conversations here. Two-way conversations on this show. And tomorrow, the phone lines will be open just like they are every Tuesday and every Friday. We don't get to hide from our audience on this show. And I would like not trolls, people that disagree, go ahead and put your voice out there. You want to make this about Sam Cedar and Jimmy's beef. It's not about their beef. But won't you call up and put your voice where your fingers are? I'm tired of fake allyship. Don't say you're an ally, and then when the people that you're supposed to be allied with say, hey, this is not cool, you just dismiss it. What kind of ally is that? I say, you're supposed to be an ally to black people, and when black people say, hey, what are you doing? Instead of going, hey, the black people don't like this is not good, you go, you don't know enough. You don't get it. That's condescending, and whether you know it or not, that is racist shit. That is racist. You don't get that, you don't understand that, ain't much I could do except tell you that it is. You don't have to grow into being something beyond, become more aware, and realize, yeah, that's what it is. And the same thing goes when women are like, hey, this makes me feel this way. You can't be like, oh, what? You don't know what you're talking about. Well, then no, yeah. You see, you just don't know. You don't know enough to know when you're offended or when something bothers you. Let me explain. And that's what it all, don't you get it? It's a running thing. When people from the LGBTQIA community are like, hey, hold on a second. This makes me feel this way. You can't be like, what? Oh, there you go, your stupid little thoughts and feelings. What are you doing feeling stuff? I tell you what to feel. I get to decide if you can be upset about something. So these people, all of them, to me, they're patently false. Either they're disingenuous and bad faith actors, or they just don't give a damn. And sometimes, who gives a fuck? Because it doesn't matter which bucket they're going to, it's the same outcome. So whether you're uneducated, deliberately obtuse, or trolling, at the end of the day, it's the same noise. At least there's hope for the people that are uneducated. But to the rest that are doing this because we want to side with this person or that person, or this is your gravy train. I see a lot of gravy train bandwagons out, bandwagon riding asses out there. So this ain't about me, this ain't about Bree, this ain't about Jimmy, this ain't about Sam. I disagree with all those people at one point in time or another, and I'm sure they've all disagreed with me. But this is about where we're going, if this is going to be a movement or not. That's all. And if we're going to ever win or not. That's all. And if we can have more wins or not. That's all. That's all it's about. Now, if you're down for that and you want to help support that, okay, cool. But the phone lines will open tomorrow. It's going to be fun. I know it's going to be fun, Johnson. Having white guys call up and try to explain to me why I don't know enough about what being black is or what black people should be upset about. You can say what you want. But I've had a little bit more time or a little bit more experience being in this skin than you have. So, I mean, you know, take it for what it's worth, Johnson. Take it for what it's worth. All right, guys, that's it. Let's go to the comment section. It's early in the morning. Let's check it out. Viewer activity. Tony says, I worry about these kids. Would they be forced back in person school who could get sick? You know what, Tony? I wanted to talk about that. Brother, you know what? I looked at that as well. My own governor, Larry Hogan, is talking about reopening schools. I thought y'all just told me we had variants, a new variants of COVID. What the hell could they be talking about? So I'm going to cover that. Hopefully I'll get to it tomorrow. Feel me? It doesn't make any sense at all, does it? They're willing to sacrifice our kids, and then our kids got to come home. And then what happens to me and Mrs. Black? Jimmy says, I think she's being shady. Jimmy Stalin says, I think she's being shady. LOL. I'm not sure who you're talking about, Jimmy. Oh, Sarah Palin. Okay. She is being shady. She is. But she's right. They need to not argue if they both agree. Look, this is just my thoughts, man. If they both agree, I know that Bree wants Medicare for all. I don't know Bree that well, but I spoke to her a couple times. You know what I'm saying? A few times we've talked, and she wants Medicare for all. Okay, so she may have different tactics or beliefs in certain ways and how to go about it, but that's what she wants, okay? And I don't know Sam that well, but when we were having a disagreement before, he was chiding me because he didn't think I was covering Medicare for all enough. And he was right. Don't tell him I said that. So the thing is, what I'm saying is they both agree on Medicare for all. So what are they really arguing about? That's all. That's all. And meanwhile, goofy ass people like Sarah Palin are watching it laughing. Going, look at them eat each other over this stupid shit. Because they both want the same thing. So that's all I'm saying is it needs to stop. I don't know how that means I'm supporting Sam. I'm supporting a ceasefire. Hashtag ceasefire. Lexavin. Force the vote talk still matters because there'll be other chances to push the squad to use leverage, and we can have Sam C, the Dixon, etc. attacking the left again. I don't think there's the only. I think, okay, so if you're saying that force the vote is not about Nancy Pelosi, but it's about pushing AOC and Ilhan Omar and Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman, or fear of them being primary if they don't do what you want them to do, yeah, I think that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. It's going to continue to be a conversation. I thought it was about you forcing them to vote against Nancy Pelosi when there was nobody else running. And they had like 2 weeks to do that. I don't see how that made sense. Said it wasn't going to work. It didn't work, and we're still here fighting about it. Yeah. Get them to vote on stuff. Yeah, sure. But don't expect a handful of progressives to be able to move arguably the most powerful person in the United States by themselves. Our job should be to create pressure. I thought media's job was to create pressure. That's what I thought. That's what exposés are about. At least that's what it used to be about. We create the pressure by being the media. That's what we do. So we could do that. But let's not focus all our ire on the only progressive candidates, on the only progressive Congress members. That's my opinion. Obviously you have your opinion that we need to get rid of, we need to primary AOC and she doesn't do something there. I don't get that. I just don't get that. I never agree with that. That was my problem. It's too much downside, not a lot of upside, and it didn't have any chance of winning. And people said, so what? Don't have to win. It ain't about winning. It's about making them do it. So I didn't get that. Cheesy Cheese says, why is it you won't put up Jimmy's interview with the guy? I'm not playing Jimmy's video. Because I never commented on that video. I never watched that video. That video is long as fuck, and I didn't watch it. And I don't watch Jimmy's content. I watched this video because it was sent to me. This clip I watched. Didn't Jimmy talk to that guy for a long time? It's not about, I'm not platforming through Jimmy, Boogaloo Boy. You go watch it. Obviously, you agree with Jimmy. You think this guy was good to platform. Fine, Johnson. I don't. Peace to you. Mike became a member. Thank you, Mike. Welcome to the Wolfpack, Mike. What's up, Johnson? Welcome to the Wolfpack, Johnson. Roger, good point on Jim, BB and Sam. Thank you, Roger. Stop throwing this overboard. Still doing it. Guys still doing it in the comment section. Throwing black people overboard for some white guy somewhere. He's a Boogaloo Boy. You know? That's what he is. Why just be like a regular Republican? Why you just talk to a regular Republican guy? He's still wearing the fucking shirt. Oh, so now we're in the job of rehabbing the image of extremist militia groups? That's our job? Weren't the Boogaloo Boys the guys who planned to kidnap Gretchen? Gretchen in Michigan, the mayor of Michigan? Isn't that the Boogaloo Boys? You really are sitting here in my comment section, pissed about me being critical of one of the most influential independent media faces, unfortunately, platforming a guy who belongs to an organization that tried to kidnap Gretchen Moeller or whatever her name is. Really, Johnson? Really? Really? Is being white that cool? Like, what is it? What is it with the militia groups, Johnson? You're probably the same people that thought it was fine that these fuckers ran up in the Capitol, the U.S. Capitol, but don't have a problem with them criticizing me when I'm talking about George Floyd. When we protest about George Floyd or Breonna Taylor. Probably crying a bunch of tears for the Capitol rioters who are now looking at prison time, possibly. But they just did it because they don't have any money. I know a lot of black people without money who don't run up in the Capitol. Next. It's so obvious, Tony D says, it's so obvious. Jimmy Dore goes out of his way to not criticize Trump and his base. I know, it's for money. Tired of people being delusional. It's for money. You don't think I know that? Not you, Tony. Not for you, Tony. You know how many people have told me, Tim, come join us on the right. You don't like the Democratic Party? Come join us. You'll get paid. It's where the money is. Then I was told, hey, you don't need to join us. Just don't criticize Trump. Don't offend their sensibilities, their gentle sensibilities, and you'll do well, Tim. This is a basic thing, but people love him so much they overlook it. It's just facts. This is just facts. That's all it is. This is a game. You're caught in the game. These people are caught in the game, Tony. They don't get it. That's why they don't criticize Trump. It's not rocket science. It's money. It's money. Oh, well, he's a symptom of he's a symptom and he's a disease. If the symptom is you bleed profusely, You could die from blood. You could die from lack of blood. You can have a symptom that kills you, you know. Then he wants you to go along with far-right groups. Yeah, then he wants us to give it up for that. Man, this is why I had a long talk with Mrs. Black. We had to talk about it like back in December when I first had the first real run-in after a couple years with these guys, and everybody was flooding me, and people were jumping off my Patreon, and people were unsubscribing, and all this shit was going on. And I said, you know what, baby? This has to happen. Because they think I'm like Jimmy, and I'm not. And I don't agree with them. And I don't ride with them. So sometimes you got to recalibrate. People need to know where you stand, and I'm willing to take the hit. There was somebody chatting me today. Tim doesn't like Jimmy, and this costing him. Hey, it's a cost I'm willing to bear because I don't agree with his politics. That should be respected. You ain't got to agree with it, but respect the guy willing to make less money. Respect a woman willing to make less money to stand up for what they believe. Maybe you should respect a little less the person willing to take more money and stand up for less people. Maybe it should be the other way. But for some reason, fuckers don't get that point. Don't criticize Trump and embraces the right. I criticize both sides, but I don't embrace no right-wing organizations. Now all of a sudden people are rewriting history as if I don't criticize Democrats. Really, Johnson? Music's for life. Thank you, Tim. Music is life. Music is life, Johnson. I hear you, and it's maddening. Black agenda now, or no black support. That's what needs to happen. I know that's what needs to happen because if not, we're never going to get it, Johnson. And that's why I had to step away. Look, man, life was so much simpler when I was walking with Lee Camp and Jimmy Dore and, you know, all these folks and Kyle and all these people. But it wasn't going to help my people, man. We're not going to get off the bottom that way. I'll do better. But black people as a whole aren't going to do better. And I know I might not be able to do enough to raise black people up by myself, to give us policies that matter, that impact us, but I had to look at it and say, Tim, you don't know when you're going to die. What do you want your legacy to be? You had more stuff, or you did more stuff for one of the most disenfranchised groups historically in this country? That you fought for your brothers and sisters because you had the platform to do so. It's one thing if you don't have a platform, you're just a person working a job. I'm in this business. I'm doing this job. This is what I do. How can I not do my part? So that's what I'm doing. And yes, it's costing me, but it's okay. Because I can look my wife in the eye. I can look at my kids in the eye. I can look at my brothers in the eye. I can look at my mom in the eye. I can look at my nephew in the eye. My whole family watches what I do. This ain't just about me. And a bunch of black people that I know and a bunch of black people in my family are watching me right now. So my commitment and my obligation is not to these people online, some of which I never met. It's to my fans, hopefully if they support what I do. But it's also to my family and my kids. I'm not a child, I'm a grown-ass man. I have an obligation to them, and I'm committed to it. So it is what it is. It's going to have to be. Everything, shout out to Tacktown. Yep, Shady Cops in the 253. Shady Cops in the 253. Yeah, I'm going to cover that, man. It's just I'm also kind of worried about the clip I have because it has music on it. And some of my people in my audience may not have seen that clip. So I want to get the clip that does not have music. The raw footage, Johnson. But yeah, that's horrible, man. Of course, there are people condoning it right now. What happened before the film started running? Before he ran over the people. You know, you can get out of something just by pulling a little slower. You don't have to plow through people. You can do 5 miles an hour. You don't have to do quick 30 and run motherfuckers over. You don't have to. Implicit bias. Don't even know they're racist. Tim, New York has 5 boroughs, not 6. Oh, 5. Okay, well, I'm not from New York, Johnson. Thank you. New York's 5 boroughs. My bad, Johnson. How many boroughs does Maryland have, Joe? Answer that. We don't have any boroughs, Johnson. We have counties. But okay. We carry signs now. Thanks for keeping it real, Tim. Thank you, we carry signs. It's tough, man. It's what it is. Tim Kim. Oh, Kim, 2 times. Tim, can you share your thoughts on Bree not supporting getting into Congress? What would be different? One more won't make a difference. Oh, shit. Is that what she said, Kim? Woo. Damn. I got to process that. That's, I'll just say this. If that's accurate, that when Bree was answered that she's supporting Nina Turner's bid for Congress, and her response was, what would be different? One more wouldn't make a difference. If that was her actual response, I'm highly disappointed. And that's very unfortunate that she feels that way. Love you can't go. Waiting for you to break out in a pop lock. Can't do it, Raj. Tessa Fagaro says, we're not supposed to dance on the news. Tess told me that years ago. Tess went to communication school or something. Ty Andrews, Jimmy loves their Russian money and paid trips to Italy. Well, I don't know, man. No, Joe Biden says never accuse a man. Don't say a man is, you can disagree, but don't accuse the person of being corrupt. You never get any type of agreement. Yeah, man, I mean, what can I say, man? I know people were saying, well, look, man, he deserved that $20 million house. It's expensive in California. I said, yeah, I know. That's why I live in Maryland. We choose to live where we live, Johnson. Don't give me that. Oh, he has to have that mansion. He has to have it. You can't even make it. Measly 100, 200, 300 grand. You can't make it in a house like that in California. They don't make houses like that. Well, there's nowhere else to, there's a train and a bus. We got this thing called planes. You can move anywhere, Johnson. But how dare you say that? I was like, are you the same people that was giving me shit because I wore a nice shirt one time? A shirt, Johnson. Off the rack shirt at that. They were actually giving me shit about, you wear shirts. You keep wearing shirts I haven't seen. It's all right because it's all white. Les Jackson. Okay. Force the vote isn't about AOC. It's about giving her the public pressure. She needs to corporate Dems and say, look, me and the left is furious. They're not going to listen to me. We need to listen to them. But see, it wasn't framed that way, was it? It was framed with, fuck her, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to keep killing you, fuck you, and you're fucking... It wasn't framed like, hey, guys, let's pressure AOC. That way we could, force her to pressure them, and she could be like, hey, these people are really pissed. You need to do something about these people. But that wasn't the way it was done, Johnson. You are being reasonable. You're like, hey, AOC, we talk to you, son. We talk to you, man. Can I talk to you for a second? The other one's like, hey, get over here. Let me talk to you. What's up? 90s Kid Perez. What's up, 90s Kid Perez? Give it up for the screen name. Kim, Tim, I tagged you in a video of Bree saying that on Twitter. Ugh. Ugh. Jesus. What is wrong with people? Not you, Kim. Why would she say that? Hey, man. I maybe this whole thing is taking a toll on Brianna. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the toll is taken on her psychologically. That just has her frustrated, like, you know what? Man, MPP, man. The Democrats have been dragging Bree for 2-3 years straight. I don't know, man. Maybe that's it. You know, that's you know, so maybe just, I don't know. Damn. Maybe it's just the culmination of years and years of being dragged by Democrats. The thought of supporting another Democrat just, it's too much for her, you know? And look, and that we could kind of understand, right? Because she's been in an up close and personal situation with this, you know, for quite some time. She's been in the torture chamber for a while with this, right? So I don't want to throw her away, okay? I don't want to cancel Bree. I don't want to cancel Nina. I didn't want to have to cancel Jimmy. People get it wrong. I could disagree with the guy and not work with the guy without canceling him, but now it's like getting, I know he said I was done. In the justice world, he'd be done. But, you know. Those weird guys that, the Hebrew Israelites, maybe I should platform the Hebrew Israelites. Yeah, like if I platform the Hebrew Israelites, I'm sure there's some things they agree with. They would agree with me on. Progressivism, healthcare, you know? They probably agree on ending wars. You know? Be against dropping bombs on brown folks in faraway lands. They would probably agree with me on that. But you know what else they would probably say? Or believe? That all white people are the devil. Yeah. And I wonder how many of you guys, my white audience, would stick around for it. Would see past their hate for you because they agree with me on Medicare for All. Uh-oh. Not so much fun when the rabbit got the gun. So I'm saying, and if I was going to do that, and I woke up the next day, and you had all left, I'd be like, I'd be mad, but I'd be like, I should have saw that one coming. But Jimmy could do whatever he wants to do and have other people cape for it. And okay, maybe that particular Hebrew Israelite I brought on was a little softer in his tone. He didn't believe that all white people were the devil. Maybe he just felt that most of them were. It was more charitable. And maybe he wanted to, legalize cannabis or something. But I don't think that would change the fact that he's a Hebrew Israelite who believes this stuff. And he showed up on my show with the garb on, with the stick, the staff, and the whole nine. So I think I made my point for those who are capable of listening to the point. And those that don't, I guess we won't make it just what it is. Now somebody gonna be like, man, tell me that ain't what Hebrew Israelites believe, man. Don't mischaracterize Hebrew Israelites, brother. I was just trying to make a point. I'm not exactly sure. I just know y'all loud in the mofo. Bree left the MPP. Well, you know what? Maybe at some point her and I will have a conversation. Because I'm not dealing with anybody in MPP. Nobody. I'm so sorry to it. I don't want to talk to Nick. I don't want to talk to none of them. None of them. So there it is. I'm done with that. But thank you, Roger. Thank you, Art. Give it up for Art, guys. Art respects the fact it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Damn, 2:45. I'm just afraid Bree is helping to cancel Nina. Please watch to see what you think. Other big names I trusted have been defending and echoing her. What? You know, I'd always wondered who was that person in the Bernie campaign that was feeding information to Jimmy Dore. I thought it was David Sirota. Oh no, Johnson. Maybe I won't have a conversation about that. Damn. That's it, man. That's it, man. I don't want to comment anymore off the cuff. This is getting to like people that I know that I consider friends. This is not good. It's not good. So let me dig into it before I go too much further about the Bree and Nina Turner situation, because I owe my relationship with them that much respect to do more investigation. So thank you, Sky. Kim, thank you for that. I appreciate it, and I will look into it. You have my word on that. All right, guys, that's all I got. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast in Maryland, and I'll see you tomorrow. Phone lines will open, and holler at your boy. Talk to your Uncle Black, Tim Black. Let's do it. All right, now this show is brought to you by CoolStreamTV.com. CoolStreamTV.com is where you go to cut the cable. All right. Don't let anybody take your cornbread. And sprinkle some facts on them, if you dare.
Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Don't be fooled by corporate media talking heads misleading the people. Get your news and information from an entity that keeps it real. Tim Black. Tim Black is the host of The Tim Black Show. Independent news that leaves you informed, inspired, and sometimes entertained, but always in the know. Go to TimBlackTV.com and sign up today. The Tim Black Show is news for people who can't stand the news. See you there.
Let me ask you. When I say they, I mean. Let me ask you something. Do they know us? When I say they, I mean the talking heads on cable news. Do they know you? I mean, they talk about the world as if it's a sport. They play political games, report on our pain, rack our brain to feed the stock exchange, but do they know us? Do they know what we care about? Nope. They're too far away. They can't see us. They can't feel us. They can't relate to us. See, when you want to know what's going on in your world, trust someone who lives in your world. Subscribe.